Hello, and today we're doing an FPL preview for Game Week 33. That's right, people. It's the blank game week, and we're going to move through, tell you my transfers this week. And I've got to be honest, I've gone bold. But it's that time of the season, you've got to take risks sometimes, and let's see how they pan out. But ultimately, it was a pretty solid Game Week 32, and let's get into my team for this game week. Before we do any of that, let me mention to you the fact that the Super League is in flames. So perhaps the FPL season is not over for next season and we still got something to build on. And maybe, you know, we can still have that FPL game we love. It just might be in a different form. But at the end of the day, it's falling apart. Teams are pulling out and looks like it might not happen now. So fingers crossed. But the point is, this is the blank game week, and talking of other competitions, we of course have that Carabao Cup final between Spurs and Man City. Therefore meaning Spurs and Man City do not play in this blank game week. So have I got prepared for that? You betcha. So I have a certain number of players that can only go on my bench and that I will bench this week because of that. And it's a bit of a shame because Harry Kane, we don't know if he's going to be able to play in Game Week 34. We hope he will. But ultimately, he didn't play against Southampton. You kind of think, all right, fair enough. It's not ideal when you hurt the ankle, but we don't know really. Will he play in the Carabao Cup final? That is the question. And ultimately, I don't know right now. I really don't know about Harry Kane. But are we going to go and make some drastic decision and sell him this week? Well, obviously, it's not ideal, the fact he doesn't play. But ultimately, that fixture in 34, if he's fit, why would I sell him now? So Harry Kane for me is just an ultimate sell. Correct that. He's an ultimate keep for me for the rest of the season because he's just been the best player in terms of FPL points. And unless that injury is really, really bad and it gets him out for a long time, why would you sell him? So ultimately, he's going to be probably one of the players on our bench. And we've got a few other players from that game that are going to be missing out. And also what we've got to contend with this week is who are we going to captain? Because there's a few equal options, but we'll get to all of that. We'll get to all of our transfers, our lineup, all that jibber jabber into the latter stages of the FPL preview. But if you like this one, smash a like on it. Comment down below your thoughts and what transfers have you made for this blank game week. And let's get into the video. So we're going to start off by saying, and it's kind of a thing that really needs to be said, the triple captaincy. And I personally was happy with it, alright? Say nothing. 36 points for a triple captain, I think, is good. Because with the unpredictability of this season, so many people, you know, triple captain Salah against like Brighton or against Sheffield United, he got 2 points. And so many people actually triple captained Kevin De Bruyne against Crystal Palace and Aston Villa. Didn't play enough minutes in that Villa game, but didn't do really enough to be explosive in that first game. And then they triple captain Harry Kane versus Burnley and Fulham. Well, in those games, Spurs just weren't really on it. So, again, a bit of a nightmare. 24 points across 2 games. So if you take all that in consideration, and this season has been the most unpredictable one, the fact is, I got 36 points, which trumps all of those scores in one game. At the end of the day, if that was a single game week and I did that in a single game, I would be delighted. So I still am very much delighted. And I, of course, had Son Heung-min in that Southampton game to make up for it. But at the end of the day, Game Week 32 is done and dusted. I'm pretty happy with that triple captaincy. Even though Kane couldn't play, obviously it's a shame. But at the end of the day, if that was a single game week, we'd have said, oh yeah, really good use of a single game week triple captaincy. Sometimes the double game week doesn't, work out, and it's hard because how close the games are to each other. But still, very good outcome. And also, SAINT-MAXIMIN, why you got to go get injured? I mean, well done. I'm happy, gets the assist, but then gets a swollen ankle and has to go off. So we might have to transfer him out. We might have to do something else. I don't know what we're going to do this week. But let's kick off by saying the fact that this week is the blank game week. So basically, recently, my decision making has been pretty astute. And I'm impressed with it, to be honest. TRENT-ALEXANDER-ARNOLD has been doing bits for me What a legend. So that's good decision making by me. And right now, I think with this game week 33 and for the season onwards, it's very much the last stretch now. It's the last run, the home run. And I think we just got to confront the problems head on. Don't shy away from it. Just really knuckle down and do what we can. And with no more chips left, I think let's just have a bit of fun. All right? Let's just see what we can do. Try and get in the best scoring players. And in this blank game week, the question on our lips is, do we keep Bruno Fernandes? He's been in absolutely awful form recently and just not been getting those attacking returns we know we can. We know with Bruno, it's always, around the corner. And of course, he did it in that reverse fixture against Leeds in fantastic style. And that was always going to be a game United could open up Leeds. But will it be the same here? Well, recently, Leeds have actually been a bit better defensively, and Meslier has actually been really good in goal. So, will Man United blow Leeds away? That is a good question. And do we keep Bruno because of that? Ultimately, though, maybe just one more week, because it is Leeds. They are a very leaky team. And Heung-min Son is the other one. Do we sell him? Well, he's not in form, but, like we say with Harry Kane earlier, he's got that fixture in 34 against Sheffield United. Surely, in theory, unless Kane, of course, is injured, which I guess hinders Son's, cause of points, and it hinders his, appetite. Not his appetite, but how's the way to phrase it? It hinders his, prospect of points. It hinders his, quality in terms of the game. So he doesn't have that link up. He doesn't have that, partner in crime to score points. And yeah, it's just not been great recently for Son Heung-min. But one player it has been great for in that midfield is Mason Greenwood. He's in amazing form. So is he right now a player that we can't, at this minute in time, get, our minds out of? Is he a player that we can't ignore? Because he's been getting points. And yes, you'd say he's a risky player. He doesn't start a lot of games, but he's getting points off the bench, so it doesn't seem to matter at this point. He's doing a bit of a Diogo Jota. And talking of which, Diogo Jota is just completely turning out of his bad form just at the wrong time. Like, come on, man. I bring you in 32. Oh, no, was it? Yeah, 31. No, it was 32, wasn't it? I'm trying to think now. 31 it was. It was against Aston Villa. We captain him. What does he do? Blanks. Brilliant. And we were going to do it in 30, and then he went and scored those two against Arsenal, and we were just like, why didn't we do it? But anyway, that is what it is. And ultimately, with people like Jota, there's still fixtures, loads of points could come. So we've got to be careful. But another player who's been in really good form, Edinson Cavani, is he worth a little punt? Well, maybe. With Calvert-Lewin gone, we have IHEANACHO, so maybe we don't want to make too many, forward switches. But if Harry Kane's injured, Cavani could come in. Bamford, do we keep him? I guess we do. Leeds fixtures are starting to turn now. After this Man United game, they've got a really good run. So, yeah, I just feel like right now, there's a lot of things to decide and a lot of things we could do. We could, in theory, buy Mohamed Salah for Diogo Jota, who maybe Jota's started to go off a bit of form. And Salah, yeah, he's not been brilliant either. But, I don't know, just with Salah, even though he did get benched against Leeds, he can always come back stronger. And he often does end the season very strongly because he wants to be in that race for the Golden Boot. So I could get Salah in for Jota, but in order to do that, I kind of have to break my team up a little bit because Salah is too expensive and I just haven't got that structure. So I might have to sell one of my backup goalies like Martinez or Mendy. Do I really want to do that? I don't know at this point, but it is tempting and it is an option in the future. So right now, it is about decision making really, and let's get into what our team is looking at this point in time, and then we will talk about future plans, transfers, and of course at the end that lovely old thing in FPL that is captaincy. No one often gets it right, but we try our best. So first of all, in this team for game week 33, we have Martinez in goal. Now we started in versus Man City. It was bold, but Mendy didn't play, so I think it was a great decision. Say what you like, Martinez gets save points most weeks, so now it's West Brom. I think that this guy surely is going to get a clean sheet. I know we said this a few weeks ago with Mendy, and look what happened. But I genuinely do feel, at home against lower teams, surely Villa aren't going to concede again. I mean, to be fair, they did do it v Fulham, but, West Brom away from home, yeah, they beat Chelsea, but are they going to really do it against Villa? I'm not sure, and I feel like the Villa clean sheet could happen. There's no certainties this season, but maybe Martinez gets some big points there. You can't ask for much of a better fixture, but West Brom are in good form, so we will find out. But it's going to be a tasty Midlands derby, that one. Then in defence, we have Trent-ALEXANDER-ARNOLD versus Newcastle. Once again, a very good fixture, and Trent has been doing it so well recently, racking in those assists, and of course the goal against Aston Villa. Lovely, lovely stuff. And yeah, Newcastle, they're pretty leaky, and also they're pretty poor going forward, so it could be points at both ends for Trent-ALEXANDER-ARNOLD. Now, in the reverse fixture against Newcastle, Trent found himself with a pretty decent score of 6 points. And I say pretty decent, it's bang average. It's a clean sheet, but let's see if he offers a bit more in this game at Anfield. And to be fair, it has been at Anfield that Liverpool have struggled for form, so that is a bit of a worry, but they did just beat Villa, so hopefully Trent can get some more points and get some more attacking returns. Ultimately, I feel like he's right now in very good form, and I always remember that really good assist that he made a few seasons back. It was a goal so well tucked away by Mo Salah, but in terms of the cross in, on that right-hand side, I think it was at St James's Park, and he just whipped it, and Salah took it kind of almost on the shin a bit, but very smoothly into the back of the net, and that is the kind of assist potential that we have Trent in our team for. And yes, you could say he's overpriced, but I don't think he is. I think he's worth every single penny of that £7 million. 7.4, I should say, not 7 million. Right, now we move on to our second defender, and I'll admit this is a risk, but we have to take risks sometimes. Stuart Dallas. Now, if we think Fernandes is going to get loads of points this week, you would say, oh, well then surely you should bench Stuart Dallas. But I've gone past this route too many times. The first time we really did regret benching Dallas, Leicester, away from home. Tough fixture. I think we might have had a Leicester attacker in that game, and yet we still bench Stuart Dallas. Just don't do it. Alright, at the end of the day, he can get a 1-pointer. He can get a -2 if he gets a yellow card and concedes a lot of goals. And I'm pretty sure he did get minus points, or he was at least on for minus points at one point in that Manchester United game, because I think he did get a booking. But the point is, he comes back and he scores an absolute worldie at the Theatre of Dreams. So who's to say he won't do it again? His goal threat is actually incredible, and he did it against Man City. He's done it at the Theatre of Dreams. Can he do it at home versus United? Let's find out. But I'm just not going to, make the risk of not playing him, because I'll regret it if he scores. So, yeah, Stuart Dallas, you've been a legend all season. You deserve to start every one of the rest of the season's games for me. Just why not? Then in third defence, this is a bit of an issue now. Aaron Cresswell. Now, it's not an issue in terms of fixture, I'd say, because recently Chelsea's defence has dropped off a cliff a little bit. They really have struggled for that confidence at the back of the team. But, to be fair to Chelsea, the introduction of Kepa has actually helped them a little bit. They did fairly well in the semi-final of the FA Cup, and then Kepa kept on that confidence with a really good display against Brighton, and getting some bonus points in there. So does Kepa stay in? And if so, does that make West Ham a really difficult opponent? But you'd say Chelsea at home are probably stronger in terms of clean sheets. Now, this is at the London Stadium, and we know what West Ham can do this season. They're pushing for the Champions League. So are Chelsea, but they're so lethal at London Stadium. And Aaron Cresswell has scored goals against Chelsea in the past. He's got that assist potential. He's been amazing all season, so it seems so illogical to drop him out of the team on form. The reason we might have to get rid of him, though, is that fixture, which is not ideal. You probably would want a better fixture. And the main thing is the injury. And it's a hamstring, so it's never good. But do we just stay patient with Cresswell? He could be back soon. And look at those fixtures after that. Burnley, Everton, not bad. Brighton, West Brom, Southampton. That is a great end to the season. And what I could always do is I could swap Cresswell out, get another West Ham defender in, get a Vladimir Coufal or a Angelo Ogbonna. And that's not a bad shout, especially with those upcoming fixtures. But what if Cresswell's back? Because he's ultimately a much better option than all of those. So, yeah, it's a really difficult decision and a difficult place I'm in right now with Cresswell. But we will see. In terms of team news, we'll try to soak up all the information and decide what to do with Cresswell. But most likely, looks like he might have to go because of the severity of the injury. Then the fourth defender we've got is Matt Targett. West Brom at home. Another good fixture. And he's got that attacking potential. Get those assists. Recently, he's been picking up a lot of yellows, which are disappointing to see. But we're going to keep him right at the minute because, you know, Villa have got a double game week in hand. So if we have Martinez and Targett, those can be extra points. And if it's the double up this week against a fairly decent fixture of West Brom, then a clean sheet. Thank you very much. 6 points for both of them. Now we move into midfield. We've got SAINT-MAXIMIN against Liverpool. We mentioned about that swollen ankle. Do we know if he's going to play? Well, I don't know. But with SAINT-MAXIMIN, sometimes his recovery is pretty fast. We saw when he got injured, I think it was against Tottenham, or it was, you know, a game around that early part of the season, and he comes straight back in for that game against Burnley, scores 2 goals. So, I don't know, is it really a bad idea to keep him? Maybe not, but the fixtures aren't ideal. But maybe with SAINT-MAXIMIN, he doesn't need fixtures because he's just in such really good form right now. Gets another assist against West Ham, and he's just always a threat for that Newcastle team. I'll admit, the fixture is against Liverpool, which is not ideal, but maybe with SAINT-MAXIMIN we keep him because we just brought him in. Is it a waste of a transfer? Unless we know he's definitely out, he could get points. So, yeah, he's one to ponder basically, but still one to, you know, maybe keep because he's a bit of a differential move and we like to do something a bit different in this team. So, yeah, let's move on to our next midfielder, Bruno Fernandes. This is the kind of the elephant in the room this week because great fixture against leaky Leeds, but it's not the best form from Bruno going into this. So, I don't know, I probably will just stick with him, but I'm starting to lose a little bit of patience. And Manchester United, they're starting to wind down. They've kind of got second already, I think. Unless you could say the title is still on, the title race, but, you know, it's 8 points, so it might be a difficult one. And let's see how, you know, how basically serious they take the rest of this season, Manchester United, because, you know, they're not necessarily going to go for it all guns blazing. They've still got the Europa League to think about, but also you've got to think about the fact that this season Manchester United have been scoring so many goals away from home, and it's an away fixture. So, yeah, it's very tempting, to be honest. Bruno Fernandes, still a very decent option. Now, Diogo Jota is next, and this is interesting because the form has not been there recently, but Newcastle are quite leaky, and you fancy Jota to do quite well here. So, on that left-hand side, he really could thrive up against people like Yedlin, people like, you know, Paul Dummett on that right-hand side. I don't know. It'd be interesting to see who Newcastle play there, but I just feel like that's a nice spot for Liverpool to expose, and Jota could be at the heart of that. Next, we've got Jesse Lingard, and he's our vice-captain, mainly because, you know, I haven't got the bottle to captain him any week because that's just me. I'm just a bit of a plonker. But basically, he's so good, he can't not be either vice-captain or captain. He just scores every week. I mean, have you ever seen an FPL player with such unstoppable form? Scores that penalty against Newcastle. I had a feeling he'd be on the next one, and he just puts it away with brilliant, brilliant ease. Now, there is a little bit of concern. He came off after the game, but it looks like it's just cramp, so shouldn't be too much of a worry. He's not flagged on FPL. Let's see if he plays. I think he should do against Chelsea, but we mentioned about that game for West Ham against Chelsea. They'll go for that, all guns blazing. They can still mix around with the top six. We've seen that with their results recently. You know, Man City away from home, they were so close to getting a point. Yeah, Lingard, you know, they can do something there, I feel. They've beaten Chelsea in the past quite a lot, West Ham. So Lingard could be at the forefront of that. And, you know, I've just got a feeling that could be a really good fixture. So do we captain him? Not that bold, unfortunately, but we'll see how Lingard gets on this week. Then our front two is Patrick Bamford against Manchester United. All right, again, not ideal fixture, but Bamford, could he do it against the Big Six? Well, he's already done it against Chelsea this season. should have really scored in the reverse fixture with Man United. Had that really good opportunity where the ball kind of just flashes across the box and it goes for everyone. But he's been pretty solid this season, Patrick Bamford. Got goals against a variety of teams, Liverpool being one of them, and also Chelsea being one of them. So I feel like he can do it against the big teams, but it just doesn't do it maybe consistently enough. And this is a kind of game that could be attacking, could be fast-flowing, and with Leeds, they seem to be scoring more goals away from home. So maybe Manchester United going to Ellen Road will make it difficult for Bamford, and Maguire could maybe muscle him out of a few challenges. But with Bamford, he's still got that explosive nature to his game. He can still score goals, and I still have faith in him. So we'll start him, see what happens. And then our second striker is Kelechi Iheanacho. And right now, captaincy is on Kelechi Iheanacho. And it's a bit of a bold move, a bit of a differential captaincy. But why not? Iheanacho's in really good form for Leicester City right now. Just won them the semi-final of the FA Cup. It's a game against Palace, who we know can be very leaky on their day. I don't see why not. It looks like a pretty interesting captaincy option. And with Iheanacho right now, he just seems to be at the top of his game. So why not captain him? Then on the bench, we've got Edouard Mendy, who I just don't fancy up against Jesse Lingard this week anyway. Then Son, Diaz and Kane is the bench. So all three of those don't play. So basically, if we have those injuries to Cresswell and Saint-Maximin, we're kind of in trouble. We're kind of in trouble because we've got no one to come in for them. So we might have to make some evasive action with Saint-Maximin and Cresswell this week in terms of transfers. But let's wait till the last minute because who knows? Saint-Maximin could play. It's unlikely Cresswell does, but you never know with, recoveries these days in football. So that is our lineup. Now we're going to talk through my transfers this week, and then we'll talk about long-term future ideas. So what I'm thinking right now, it feels like one of Cresswell or Saint-Maximin might have to go, which is sad because, Cresswell, he's been a long stay in this team. He's been a legend and he's got so many points, but injuries are injuries. And also, Saint-Maximin, he's not exactly got the best fixture and he might be out injured. We don't know really, but he could go. So maybe Cresswell is more, of a player we need to get rid of. So therefore, we can just get in a player with good fixtures, with a good run of fixtures, at least kind of till the end of the season. And hear me out, all right? This is a bit of a bold one, but how about a bit of Alioski? Now, we've already got Stuart Dallas, and fair enough, Leeds could get battered by Man United, but I'm willing to take that risk because they're so attacking that maybe Dallas or Alioski could get attacking returns in this game. And you've got to think long term. You can't just think about that Man United game. Long term, the fixtures are good. Alioski does get those goals. And the games he's going to be playing against after Man United are going to be really favourable games. So I feel like Alioski could be a solid option and a nice cheap option to replace Aaron Cresswell. And in order for us to make all these changes, ideally we want to make a few more changes. So it might have to be a -12 hit. But I think this -12 is looking pretty lovely. Mendy to go because Chelsea's defence has taken a little bit of a backseat, and now even we can't say that Mendy is a nailed-on option in terms of goalkeeping. Kepa's taken back a bit of the praise, but it's not really to do with selection, I'd say. I think it's more fixtures. If you look at Mendy's fixtures, they're a bit wishy-washy, and at the end of the day, I want to kind of distribute a bit of my budget. Now, I'm happy with Martinez, even though his fixtures aren't brilliant. He gets save points. He does enough, really. He doesn't go above and beyond all the time. He's been brilliant this season. Fair play. He's got lots of big points. But recently, he's just been getting those save points. And at the end of the day, I'll take that. If they get clean sheets the odd game, then fantastic. But if not, I'm not going to fuss about it. So, yeah, it just seems pointless to have Mendy and Martinez at this late stage of the season now. So we might bring in Button from West Brom just to kind of save funds. Not a player that we're going to play. So that is our second transfer. Third transfer, Hector Bellerin in. I know, because Arsenal defence is cagey, but look at the fixtures, man. That Sheffield United game proved they can keep clean sheets. And yeah, all right, they didn't keep it against Fulham, but that was, a penalty. It's just a bit of individual mistakes. But I feel like Bellerin right now, he's got that attacking potential and he could get assists. could get a few clean sheets with those fixtures. Could be a decent option. The reason we're bringing in Bellerin, just kind of a cheap option again, is to get rid of a player who won't play in 33, and that is Ruben Diaz. And again, it hurts to get rid of Ruben Diaz, but it is the most logical decision because he doesn't play this game week, and long term, do we want him to the rest of the season? Man City have the title wrapped up. They don't need to play Diaz, and at the end of the day, I've just had enough of rotation, Man City. Yes, Diaz has been good, and yes, he's got those attacking headers, but I'd rather just move to some better fixtures, really. Man City's fixtures aren't that much to fuss about, so why not? Bellerin in for Ruben Diaz. And finally, we talk about the final transfer, Mohamed Salah. And it's bold, I'll admit, because Salah's form has been a bit wishy-washy this season, a bit up and down, and only recently has he been improving, and then, of course, gets dropped against Leeds. So there is a bit of uncertainty about that. Jota and Salah are both kind of competing for the same spot, so the fact is, if I have both of them, then, everyone's a winner, basically. But the reason is for that, again, another player who doesn't play in 33, Heung-min Son. At the end of the day, yes, he's got the fixture against Sheffield United, but you'd imagine Kane would be fit for that game. We can still get those Spurs points from that fixture. Son, I just don't know about him right now. I just don't have that faith in him, but he could still deliver points. So Son to Salah seems a little bit sideways, but it could pay off. It could at the end of the day. So that's the transfers I'm thinking at. I could change my decisions, really. I could make some different decisions. At the end of the day, you will hear about my team in the FPL Game Week 33 review that I'll do, later in the week. So, yeah, that's my transfer thoughts right now. Now let's talk a bit of a long view and a bit of future planning, basically, for the rest of the season. So, one thing to note is there's possibly going to be another double game week. We don't know. It's not confirmed. But it's going to probably be double game week 35. And it will be probably off the back of that a blank game week 36. And that could change a lot of FPL managers' plans. I mean, obviously, I've got no more chips, so I can't completely, reconstruct my whole team. But it is good to plan ahead. And yeah, it will be interesting to see how that kind of changes things, really. So I feel like the transfers, until we have more info, we've got to kind of wait about and just leave our options open. So yeah, I don't know about that, really. So it's an interesting one. But I'll start thinking about that. And also, it's interesting that in terms of my transfer plans, one player is interesting. Maybe we get in Ryan Brewster, all right? I know it stings. I know it's disgusting. Sheffield United are relegated. There's no value I'm getting from Brewster, but it is an enabler. It's an enabler that would allow me to get Salah and Bruno and an attacking Man City player if I wanted them, like De Bruyne, provided he's back from injury, or, a Liverpool attacker like Sadio Mane, or a Chelsea attacker like Hakim Ziyech. I don't know. At this point, I'm not sure who that premium midfielder would be, but it allows that space for another premium if you have that enabler through Ryan Brewster. And we've already had our bench boost. That was a fail. We don't want to talk about that. So we don't need a good bench right now. That's not a priority. So Brewster could come in. And also Matty Vidra. Matty Vidra has to be an enabler for me because ultimately he does help your budget and he's actually not been doing too badly recently. And ultimately, you'd say right now, most of the games he's a bit iffy, but he didn't play in the last game and it's still a decent option. But do we go for it? I'm not too convinced. Now, should we upgrade to that budget striker? Maybe we should. Or could we stick with Patrick Bamford? Because maybe he's going to end the season on a high with those good fixtures. A West Brom asset is tempting because of their form, because of their kind of real determination to stay up. They're going to really want to win games. And they're scoring goals at the minute. But, I don't know. I feel like we've got the double game week players of Martinez and Target. And we could in the future get in James Rodriguez or even Gylfi Sigurdsson or an Everton defender like Michael Keane or Coleman because of those two games in that kind of double game week coming up at some point. But is it worth it? Because the teams that have that double game week aren't scoring that many goals. So, I don't know. There is, possibly going to be a spot that I can reserve later on down the line in my team where someone can slot in without, downsides. Maybe a player I kind of take in and remove if they outscore them. So it kind of depends on my later thinking. But interesting there to plan ahead for the future and think about what is going on in the later game weeks. At the end of the day, we all want to end the season strongly. It's difficult to know who the best players are to bring in. And there's a few players that are kind of threats to my rank that I currently don't own. Those being, of course, Edison, Hugo Lloris, Connor Cody, Luke Shaw, and Bukayo Saka, Salah. I've just sold Gundogan, so I guess he's a threat to my rank. And, of course, Watkins and Vardy. So, right now, I feel like Watkins is just not quite consistent. I guess he, did improve from those recent games, and he scored v Fulham, scored v Liverpool, but he's not completely, lit it up. And I'd rather Bamford, to be honest, right now. But I could change my thinking come before the end of the season. So let's see what we decide. But that is a little bit of future planning there, people. So now we're going to lock in our final selection and final captaincy. I really haven't thought about the captaincy, to be honest. So let's make those transfers then, shall we? Should we do a -12 hit? I mean, for the long term, that really does help my team. But for the short term, it's a big hit. So, I don't know. I'm genuinely not decided on my transfers. So I will make those late choices at the end. But what you need to know is that regardless of transfers, this is going to be my selection. Martinez is in goal. We know this. Trent is on that left-hand side, or the first defender in my team. Dallas, we're going to play. Do we play Cresswell? Well, if we bring in a replacement for him, we probably will play Cresswell. Well, and I say, do we play Cresswell? Of course we have to, because all the rest of the players on our bench don't play in this game week. So, yeah, Cresswell will play. Then it's Target. Then SAINT-MAXIMIN. Then Fernandes. Then Jota. Lingard. Do we vice-captain him? That is difficult. Against Chelsea, it's a tough fixture, because Chelsea, if you look across the whole season, their defence has been pretty mad. But I don't know, Lingard, man, he's quality. Fernandes is definitely a captaincy option, but the form has recently been a bit shoddy. So it's a real shame, really, that Kane doesn't play this game week, because he's just a reliable captaincy to stick it on if you haven't got a clue. And that is kind of where I'm at right now. I'm really not sure. So Jota, an option against Newcastle, definitely, I think, an option. So, would I be another absolute, idiot to not captain Lingard this week? Maybe I would. So right now, I think the captaincy/vice-captaincy decision is between IHEANACHO, Jota, Lingard, Fernandes. Do we go with Fernandes? The form recently hasn't been good, but it's a great fixture. It's about that old decision make of form or fixture. I think generally the fixture is what you should target with defenders. So form, I think, is a better thing for attackers. So therefore, I'm not going to go with Bruno as vice or a captain. So now it's between Jota, Lingard and IHEANACHO. Now, I mentioned IHEANACHO at the start of the video. I always like to say, go with your gut. So I think for that reason, IHEANACHO is going to be at least a vice-captain, if not captain. So now it's between Jota and Lingard. Would I realistically captain one of those? Newcastle, better fixture. Chelsea, not better fixture, but Lingard, better form. Oh, it's difficult. It really is. I think I'm going to... It just seems ridiculous because I'm doing it every week, but I'm probably going to captain IHEANACHO. And again, I do it so often, but I'm probably going to vice-captain Lingard. I know you're saying, stop. His form can't stop right now. And it's Chelsea. They just lost against, teams like Porto and teams like West Brom. But I don't know. I'm not quite brave enough to captain Lingard. If it was a great fixture, maybe I would. But I'm going with IHEANACHO and I'm going with Lingard vice-captain. Just because I don't like Jota's form right now. It's not that appealing. So let's hope for some points. That is our captaincy locked in. Kelechi IHEANACHO. It's differential. Let's hope it pays off. Thanks for watching my FPL preview for Game Week 33. I know it's a bit confusing that I haven't locked in transfers, but don't you worry. If you haven't, clarified it, look in the description and I will put it, the final team in that little description. So hope you liked it. Smash a like on it. See you next time for the Game Week 33 review.